We are just begging for a crumb of diversity in your reading list here. So if you can spare that, you're good to go. Fun fact, this is not my cat. I just brought this cat in this video because I knew more people would be more likely to click on it when you see a cat. Oh, are you kicking me in the chin? Thank you. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Asian Readathon. The Asian Readathon is a month-long readathon that is dedicated to reading books by Asian authors and featuring Asian characters throughout the month of May, because May is Asian American and Pacific Islander month. This is a US specific month, but obviously anyone from around the world can join. It's an online event and it's meant to be super accessible and easy for everyone, right? So in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 challenges for this year's Asian Readathon and a couple of book recommendations for each of them. And then I will also be talking about some read-alongs and book clubs that you can join, as well as the big directory of Asian books that you can read. But before we get into that, let's talk about the sponsor of today's video. Thank you to Copilot for being today's sponsor. Copilot is an affordable fitness coach app that provides personalized workouts that are tailored to your personal goals and your equipment if you have any. I know sometimes to a lot of people, the idea of having a fitness coach makes it seem like you have to be someone who's super into fitness already, but that's not necessarily the case. I am someone who does not exercise at all, especially because I work remotely now, so I'm pretty much sedentary all of the time. And I can tell that it's had an effect on me because I am constantly feeling fatigued throughout the day, even though I'm barely doing any physical movement. And I know this isn't normal because back in college, I used to work out all the time. And I only worked out because I joined a sports team where almost every day we went to the gym to work out together. This is something that I would have never done because, again, I'm not really a fitness girly, but I did it consistently because I had other people to keep me accountable. Now that I am an adult though, I don't have that anymore. So with Copilot, what I really like about it is that it gives me that accountability that I was missing before when I used to be consistent, because I get support from a real person. I really wanted her to be a woman or non-binary. I wanted her to be a much more positive support kind of person because I'm not a tough love girly. It's really hard balancing 2 full-time jobs and everything else going on in life. So when I was on my onboarding call with Katie, she was so understanding and accommodating for everything. And she immediately made this workout plan for me that was tailored to my needs. I was actually pleasantly surprised that working out was not as bad as I thought it would be. And sometimes now I'll do 2 different workout sessions a day because they're so easy and quick, especially because I need a break in between my work sessions anyway. So I'm not just sitting the whole time. I can't believe I'm a fitness girly now, but if I can do it, you can do it too. So if you're interested in trying it out, you can actually click on the link in my description below at go.mycopilot.com/CindyFam, and then you can get 14 days free with your own expert fitness and health coach. So you can just try it out and see if you like it. You might end up pleasantly surprised like I did. So thank you again to Copilot for sponsoring, and now let's talk about the Asian Readathon. Last year when I hosted this readathon, I made the challenges loosely based around the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once because it had just come out, it was getting a lot of buzz, and I found that it was actually quite fun to base challenges off of different movies or just media in general. So this year I was hoping to find something similar. I didn't know what was getting enough buzz or not because I hadn't really seen anything. And then a trailer came out called Joyride. And once I saw it, I was like, this is perfect. So for 2023, this year's challenges will be loosely based around the upcoming movie Joyride that's being released in July. Don't worry, you don't have to watch the actual movie. This is just something that I'm doing for funsies. But if you are curious, it's a movie that is starring 4 Asian women. They are a group of unlikely friends and they embark on this international adventure because the main girl has a business trip to Asia, but it goes sideways. So then she enlists the help of her childhood best friend, who happens to be a hot mess, that friend's eccentric cousin, and her college friend, who is now a Chinese soap opera star. Based on the trailer, it seems like a raunchy road trip comedy, very much similar to a lot of American road trip comedies that you typically see with dude bros, but this time it's with a group of Asian women, which I think is a refreshing take because Asian women can be raunchy too, which I'm sure you can tell because you are watching my channel. But ultimately, it's a story about identity and self-discovery. So I felt like there were a lot of themes that we could base the challenges around. So with that in mind, let's get into the 5 challenges for this year. Number 1 is pretty much the default challenge every year. Super easy, basically a freebie to you, and it is to read a book written by an Asian author. That's it. It could be any Asian author. We are just begging for a crumb of diversity in your reading list here. So if you can spare that, you're good to go. Challenge number 2 is to read a book featuring a friendship between at least 2 Asian characters. This is pretty much a given because the whole movie is about friendship. So yeah, let's see some more friendship stories. Not every story needs to be about family or generational trauma. Give us some friendships too. The first book that comes to mind for this challenge is Fiona and Jane by Jean Chen Ho, who is a Taiwanese author. This book is a series of short stories that follow the 2 main characters who are friends, but they lead individual lives and you kind of see them interweave with another's lives every now and then. I feel like it's more realistic to adulthood because you're not with your friend all the time, but then you can reconnect anytime you are together. If you're looking for a book that's much more focused on friendship though, there's a manga called Orange by Takano Ichigo, and it's about a transfer student who joins this group of friends, but then the main girl receives a letter from her future self telling her to protect this transfer student because it's revealed that at some point in the future he unalives himself, which sounds pretty dark, but at the same time it's so pure and wholesome and it's focused on their friendship and really trying to be there for a friend, and it's so good. It actually made me cry reading the last chapter. But honestly, a lot of manga has themes around slice of life or friendship, so there are so many options that you can choose from. And again, because this readathon is supposed to be as easy and accessible for you as possible, it's okay if the main focus of the story isn't necessarily about Asian friendship, as long as we see a friendship within the story. The 30 Names of Night, for example, features a trans Syrian boy who enlists the help of his family and friends to unravel the mysterious disappearance of an artist. So there's obviously a bigger plot going on, but you still get that friendship element in it. So how deeply you want to get into friendship is up to you. Again, these challenges are open to interpretation. Challenge number 3 is to read a book featuring an Asian character or written by an Asian author that is focused on identity and self-discovery. I think any memoir pretty much falls into this category, and the last great one that I read was What My Bones Know by Stephanie Fu, who is Malaysian. Literally the best book that I read in 2022. So I highly recommend, because she dives into generational trauma and CPTSD. You can check out any of Ocean Vuong's books. He is Vietnamese and he writes a lot of poetry as well. And you can even read graphic novels like The Magic Fish. That one is about a boy who can only communicate with his Vietnamese immigrant parents through fairy tales. But the story is about him trying to figure out how to tell them that he's gay. There are so many facets of our identity and self-discovery, whether that's sexuality or where we come from, or just a general figuring out of who we are, that I think any kind of story would be very easy to fit into the challenge. The 4th prompt is to read a book written by an Asian author or featuring an Asian character that shows them going on an adventure. Adventure could mean anything here. It could mean traveling to another country, like in the case of The Astonishing Color of After, where the Taiwanese main character decides to visit her home country to figure out more about her family and her mother, and the book overlaps with the previous challenge too. A lot of these books will probably overlap. Adventure could also mean fantasy or sci-fi. She Who Became the Sun is a Chinese-inspired fantasy with genderqueer main characters. Light from Uncommon Stars is a sci-fi by a Japanese author. So you can really go broad with your interpretation of adventure. And then the last prompt is based on the characters that you see in Joyride. So you should read a book featuring an Asian character who is either a hot mess, famous, or eccentric. Again, super broad to pick from. You can read Arsenic and Adobo, which is about a Filipino girl who's recovering from a horrible breakup, and she has to deal with her aunt's failing restaurant, and at the same time she has to deal with her nosy relatives that are trying to matchmake her. So her life is already a hot mess, and then she gets caught up in this murder mystery. Mimi Lee Gets a Clue is another cozy mystery featuring a Chinese girl who actually becomes the top suspect of a murder mystery as well. Pretty much anyone who ends up in a murder situation is probably gonna be a hot mess. I think the same thing applies for a lot of main characters in rom-com books too. And for famous people, you can read any memoir written by an Asian person, or even a fictional story too, like Interior Chinatown, which is about an unknown Chinese actor who stumbles into the spotlight and becomes famous, and he has to grapple with the ramifications of that. So those are the 5 challenges. You can either read 5 of those books separately for each challenge, or you can combine them to make it easier. It's totally up to you and how much time you have. Any book counts, including manga, graphic novels, poetry, audiobooks, whatever. The twist though is that even though you can combine challenges and you can read in any order, each different book that you read should feature a character or an author from a different ethnicity, because Asians are not a monolith. If you only read Japanese authors, that's not really reading diversely. So I would encourage you to broaden your horizons and challenge yourselves to not read the same ethnicity each time and just vary it up a little bit. So for example, if I were to read What My Bones Know for Asian Readathon, it's a fantastic memoir and it pretty much completes 4 of the challenges, which is to read a book written by an Asian author. It focuses on identity and self-discovery. It can qualify for the main character going on adventure because the author does take a trip to San Jose, her hometown, to interview people and learn more about generational trauma. She is definitely a hot mess, and because she is an author, she does fall somewhere on the fame scale as well. But the book doesn't really feature a friendship between two Asians. So if I were to pick up another book that fulfills that prompt, it wouldn't make sense for me to pick up another book by a Malaysian author because I am already reading a Malaysian author. So I should be reading another author from a different ethnicity. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be reading all Malaysian authors the whole time. But let's say you're super pressed for time and you just read one book that qualifies for all 5 challenges. That's totally fine too. I'm just saying that if you're gonna read different books, try to change it up a little bit. If you would like some recommendations or ideas for what books to read for these challenges, this is where the directory of Asian books really comes into handy. I created a page for Asian Readathon on Storygraph, and a nice thing about that site is that anyone can add books in different categories based on authors' ethnicities, their reading prompts for these challenges, and more. There are even categories for LGBTQ+, or another category for translated books. So I will have the link in my description where you can access this directory on Storygraph. If you want to add books to the directory though, I highly encourage you to do it because it is all community sourced, and the more books that you add, the broader the range is for the books that we can read. To add books, all you have to do is create a Storygraph account, and I will insert a clip from a previous video that I filmed that does a walkthrough on how you can add the books. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so you know what I'm talking about. Basically, I started the reading challenge for Asian Readathon. Anyone can join it. I have all these sections listed out. They're called challenge prompts on the website, but I'm actually cheating it a little bit so that I can use it as just like general book recommendations, because each section is divided by different author ethnicity. And as you can see, there are a bunch of books added to each section. If you scroll down past all of the ethnicities, you also can see that I added LGBTQ+ authors, nonfiction books, graphic novels, books translated from their native language. So you have different categories too if you're looking for inspiration for a certain reading prompt. I really like this because if you click on any section, you can see all the book covers and the tags that are listed along each book, so that gives you a general idea of whether you're interested in the book or not. If you have a bunch of Asian books that you want to add to the list, please do. Once you make an account on Storygraph, all you have to do is first join the Asian Readathon challenge. You can just do that by clicking on the link in my Google Doc or in my video description. And then after you join it, type any book that you want to add to the list. So for example, I am gonna search up In the Vanisher's Palace, which is by a Vietnamese author, and it's also LGBTQ+, according to the tag. I'm on the book page, I scroll down, and on the left side, it says add to your reading challenge. I click on Asian Readathon. Now I see all these categories. So I'm gonna search Vietnamese authors, so I can add that, and I'm gonna search LGBTQ+ authors, then you click on Save Changes. Now, when you look at the page, you can see that the book is added there. And now other people can see the book is listed in those categories, and they might be interested in picking it up too. So that's the giant directory for all the Asian books that you could possibly add. However, I am also going to add a second directory specifically for this year. So the categories will be the 5 prompts, and then you can add whatever books you see fit those 5 prompts. And you can see what other people are adding to those prompts too, if you need ideas. All of the information has been collected in my description. And more specifically, I have a giant Google Doc that has all of this information with the challenges, the list of Storygraph directories, and a separate section for just free resources in general. There are some books that you can read online for free or that you can listen to as audiobooks on Spotify. In that same Google Doc, I will also have a list of read-alongs and book clubs for you to join if you want to buddy read with other people. I will be updating the Google Doc on what the book of the month is for each respective book club, along with their socials on Twitter or Instagram or Discord, and whether they have a live show or not. Because sometimes it's more fun to read with other people and see what other people are thinking about the same book that you're reading. And if you are part of a book club that would like to be added onto the list, just message Asian Readathon on Twitter and ask to be added, and I will update the Google Doc for you. So throughout the month of May, as you're reading these books, don't forget to use the hashtag Asian Readathon in your videos, your TikToks, your tweets, whatever you decide to post on social. Use the hashtag, and I will try to go through all of them and add them to the YouTube playlist playlist or retweet it from Asian Readathon. If you decide to join us, I hope you do, and I hope you have a fun time. That's pretty much it for the video. I hope it was clear and easy to understand. Again, you can refer to the Google Doc in my description for all of the information that you could possibly need. So thanks for watching, and thank you again to Copilot for sponsoring this video. Again, you can get a 14-day free trial at my link, go.mycopilot.com/CindyFam. Go ahead and unsubscribe from my channel, and goodbye.